He's trouble.
I would like to call a formal meeting of the City Council for January 10th to order. We begin all of our meetings with the invocation of the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask you all to stand for both. And the invocation today is begun by Tressa Thomas from the SGI Builders Association for Peace, Culture, and Education. And please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
People can only live fully by helping others to live. When you give life to friends, you truly live. Cultures can only realize their further richness by honoring other traditions. And only by respecting natural life can humanity continue to exist. I will value my own life. I will respect all life. I will inspire others. I will inspire hope in others. Hope is a decision.
Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 2.
Changes to agenda and postponements.
Madam Liaison.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. We have 2 changes to the agenda. Item number 12, a resolution to approve a cooperation agreement between the City of Carl Springs and Carl Springs Urban Renewal Authority has been postponed to January 24th. And item number 14, a public hearing on an appeal by Christy Wheeler on behalf of Occupy Colorado Springs has been withdrawn by Christy Wheeler. She made contact with me this morning.
And just for the public record, you have personally talked to her and she did indicate her withdrawal of that appeal.
Yes.
Okay. I will accept a motion for the postponement of item number 12 having to do with the Idlewild Urban Renewal Authority and the withdrawal of item number 14 on the public hearing.
We so move.
Second. Is there anybody in the comment would like? I'm sorry. Is there anybody in the audience would like to comment on those 2 actions? Now, remember, sir, I'm only asking you just the postponement and the withdrawal. We're not talking about the substantive items themselves. But if you'd like to talk about the postponement and withdrawal, you're more than welcome to come forward. Is that a, okay. Seeing none, we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Item number 3.
Consent calendar. These items will be acted upon as a whole unless a specific item is called for discussion by a council member or a citizen wishing to address the City Council. Any items called up for separate consideration shall be acted upon following the mayor's communications.
Is there any member of council who'd like to pull an item off? I'll go first. I would like to pull item 3B1. Jan?
I'd like to pull 3B5.
Are there any other items? Is there any member of the audience who'd like to pull an item off the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll accept the motion to approve the consent calendar with the exceptions of 3B1 and 3B5.
I so move.
Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Item number 4.
Resolution of appreciation and citizen discussion.
I understand we have 1 resolution of appreciation.
Yes, sir.
You would read that, please?
The resolution of appreciation to Red Robin Gourmet Burgers for its generous donation during Fire Prevention Week 2011. Whereas the Colorado Springs Fire Department provides important fire and life safety educational messages to the community. And whereas specifically students have opportunities to participate in and learn through both the safety factor and fire factor programs, preventive injury, preventive skills, and juvenile fire setting prevention. And whereas Red Robin Restaurants have partnered with the Colorado Springs Fire Department for 9 consecutive years, donating almost $50,000 to support their educational efforts. And whereas during Fire Prevention Week 2011, Red Robin Gourmet Burgers generously donated $5,215. Now therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Colorado Springs that the City of Colorado Springs hereby recognizes and expresses gratitude to Red Robin Gourmet Burgers for its donation to the Colorado Springs Fire Department in support of the Safety Factor and Fire Factor educational programs. Dated at Colorado Springs, Colorado, to this 10th day of January 2012.
Council? Mr. Herpen.
Move approval with great appreciation.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. And I've asked Councilmember Herpen to represent council in the award of this resolution.
Cara Anderson, Shelley Armstrong, Jamie Winter. Chief Brown, do you want to come up?
Thank you. I'm not sure why they picked me. Maybe it's because I eat a lot of Red Robin burgers. Although I am disappointed you closed my Red Robin over by the Citadel, 2 blocks from me. Well, our city is extremely fortunate in that we have a lot of public-private partnerships. We can't do some of the things that we do without the help of the business community and the citizen volunteers in many areas of our city. We have friends that support Cheyenne Canyon and Rockledge Ranch and all kinds of things, and businesses that step up to help us with educating our young people on fire safety. And so this is a great appreciation for what you've done for our city, what you continue to do for our city. And it was so, I'm very honored to be able to present this to you, and hopefully you'll hang it. Tell me which Burger King. Which Red Robin, and maybe it'll hang it, I'll come and visit it. So thank you for everything that you and Red Robin has done for our community over the years.
Well, I just want to take a quick moment and thank both of these wonderful women for the help they provided, and certainly to Red Robin, because they have, as stated in the resolution, nearly $50,000 has gone to this community, which that provides an awful lot of programs that we otherwise would not have been able to provide. So I want to thank both of you very much for the collaborative effort and our continued partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for having us here today. Just wanted to say that we're very proud to be part of the Colorado Springs community, and it's just awesome to actually hear that number out loud. $50,000 donated back to the fire department's educational programs is just amazing. So thank you so much for a great partnership, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
We're now to the point in the agenda where we cover we recognize our young people in our community with the Mayor's 100 Teens programs, and I've asked several of my colleagues up here to help me in this because we have several that we're going to recognize today. So I'd like to start with Councilmember Salatko.
Thank you.
Would Roma please come up? Roma, please face the audience. This is Roma Nupani from Wasson High School. She was nominated by Cheryl Thayer. If Roma's achievements in the past year are evident of how far she'll go in life, great things are in store for her. Roma and her parents moved here from Nepal in November 2010, facing a new language, new culture, new environment, and new expectations. Sounds like this job. They had no family in the U.S. to help them adjust. Even though she started at Wasson in the middle of a semester, Roma refused to get discouraged. Now she's taking honors algebra and AVID, a class that helps prepare students for college, from application strategies to study and writing skills. She's still working towards fluency in English, but her academic performance is strong regardless. She has a 4.0 average. Roma finds time to help others too. She has helped friends in need either financially or academically. She collected funds through the Lions Club for an orphanage and helped out at an information technology center. She is volunteering 3 days a week on the pediatric floor at Memorial Hospital. In Nepal, she received awards for debate, speech, drawing, and dancing. In Colorado, she's participating in many groups, including MESA and the school soccer team. She is on the cheerleading team and was chosen secretary of the MESA Club. Roma dreams of becoming a doctor in order to help even more people in the future. With the dedication she's shown in her life this far, she is well on her way. Her life philosophy is live and let live, and her #1 goal is to become a successful pediatrician and help the children to enjoy a healthy childhood. Congratulations, Roma, and thank you very much.
Councilmember Williams.
Is Hannah in the audience?
There's
Why
two
have a
hands.
Hannah Bolton? And we had dual Hannahs today. Hannah is a student at Cheyenne Mountain High School. She was nominated by Erica Allgood and Summer Tinsley. The constant stress and fear felt by a deployed soldier's family can be overwhelming for some. Through her father's 4 deployments and moves to 5 states, Hannah Bolton stays positive, focused, and determined to make a difference. Hannah is the youngest volunteer at the United Service Organization at Fort Carson, where she helps in the kitchen and at the front desk. She has also put in more than 200 hours in a group called Students and Teachers Aiding Humanity, which provides many different outlets for community service, including maintaining the grounds at North Cheyenne Canyon Park, helping the elderly during Senior Aid Day, organizing blood drives, and more. Hannah and her siblings created their own outreach program called Care and Share Here and There at Cheyenne Mountain Elementary School. She and the elementary students collected donations of food and personal items to send to deployed soldiers. They collected more than 20 boxes for the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment, which is the unit their father serves in. Outside the service realm, she finds time to babysit, take advanced placement classes, sing with the Advanced Women's Choir, and maintain a high GPA. She also provides support for her own family, serving as a role model for her younger brother and sister through her father's time abroad. Her life philosophy is sail beyond the horizon, fly higher than you ever thought possible. Magnify your existence by helping others, be kind to people and animals of all shapes and sizes. Be true to what you value most, shine your light on the world, be the person you were born to be. And her #1 goal is to become a veterinarian and open her own practice. She would like to attend Texas A&M University and participate in the Corps of Cadets, just like her father did. Please join me in congratulating Hannah.
President Pro Tem Martin.
Well, I have Hannah Shapiro. This Hannah is a student at the Colorado Springs School. She was nominated by Amy Johnson Smith. Music is a powerful outlet for Hannah Shapiro, helping to take her mind off the pain she's experienced throughout her life. She was born with 2 congenital spinal defects, but Hannah presses on, performing saxophone and keyboards for the school pep and jazz bands, keeping her grades up and helping others when she can. She wants to do so through her music. Hannah performs routinely for the Colorado Springs School, Children's School, and at other school events. Hannah has volunteered with the therapeutic writing program at Christ Haven Lodge for 5 years, and she's working to complete her certification. She works at Everly Medical Foster Home in Green Mountain Falls. Refusing to accept anything less than academic excellence, Hannah presses her teachers to fully explain concepts and helps others to draw understanding from class discussions. She is especially accomplished in science. She's president of the Spanish Club and an active member of the Environmental Moth Club. She was inducted into the National Honor Society. She also pushes herself hard outside of the classroom. She played team volleyball despite her back pain. She spends part of her free time belly dancing and doing yoga, which has been therapeutic for her back. She tried out for the American Idol. Ooh, how fun. When auditions came through town, As a junior, she went to Valencia, Spain for a cultural immersion experience. She speaks Spanish and Italian. Her life philosophy is, happiness is a choice, and sometimes the littlest things in life are what matter the most. Be honest, work hard, and help others. Most of all, don't forget to love, laugh, and play, always. Her #1 goal is to live a meaningful and fulfilling life that not only brings happiness to my family and me, but also touches the lives of others through music and science. Congratulations, Hannah, and thank you.
Councilman Dugan.
Brianna Reed. Brianna is from Sand Creek High School, and she was nominated by Nancy Reed. Brianna Reed has been a constant positive force in her family faced with many challenges. Through her parents' divorce and many moves, she has remained cheerful and even-tempered. She moved to a new school district right before starting high school and gained 2 younger step-siblings. Despite the turmoil, Brianna has kept her GPA above a 3.5 and found time to participate in music, sports, and volunteering and babysitting. Brianna naturally took on the job of role model for her step-siblings, along with her younger sister. She has demonstrated her commitment to learning and doing well in school, serving as a mentor and guardian. Brianna has been a participant in the International Baccalaureate program since her freshman year. She is an avid reader, always working her way through one book or another. She was invited to join the National Honor Society this school year and has lettered academically each semester so far. Brianna has a broad list of interests and activities. She is nominated to play in the CSU Carlo Honor Band and the Colorado Ambassadors of Music. Europe Tour, she plays flute and mellophone in marching band and oboe in concert band. She is also an athlete. She swam on the Mitchell High School swim team in the winter of 2010 and participated in volleyball and softball. Her life philosophy is shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. And her #1 goal is to bring happiness to others, become a pediatrician, and to always surround by family and love. Congratulations and thank you, Brianna.
And the last team we're honoring today is, and I gotta tell you, they've been coaching me on this for the last half hour or so, and I'm gonna try. Kaloyan Athanasov. And Cal, if I mispronounced it badly, please correct us. Cal is a student at Vista Ridge High School and he was nominated by Scott Winter. Art will never get you anywhere. That was a common response to Cal Athanasov's passion in his native country of Bulgaria. Cal and his parents immigrated in 2005, leaving behind a successful technology business to seek new opportunities. Since coming to the U.S., Cal has won his division in the Federal Junior Duck Stamp Art Contest, sponsored by the U.S. Department of the Interior 4 years running, taking Best in Show in 2011. He takes art classes at the Cottonwood Art Center. Moving didn't only bring new creative outlets and recognition, however. Speaking only broken English when he got here, Cal had to adjust to a new culture, environment, and lifestyle. He now thrives in school, earning a high GPA, making the honor roll for 3 semesters, and participating in Vista Ridge's Career Academy. Cal has studied Aikido, a Japanese martial art, since he was 7 years old, and he now serves as an assistant to the trainer of Pikes Peak Aikido, helping students from ages 3 to 13. Cal has served as a volunteer for Odyssey Elementary School Carnival since the 2009 and 2010 school year. His life philosophy is that hard work and perseverance go a long way to a successful future, and his #1 goal in it is that art has always been a part of my life. As an artist, I hope to one day bring a more colorful perspective to people's lives. And let's show our appreciation for Cal, please. Cal, Hannah, Roma, and Brianna, thanks for being here today. Thanks for taking time out of your extremely busy schedules. And we appreciate the role model that you serve within the community and within your schools. Thanks again. Before I move on to citizens discussion, I've been informed that I have one individual from the community who'd like to make a presentation. Dr. Bruce Dubin, if you'd come forward, please.
Thank you, Councilman Henty, and I'd ask you to come forward so I can present you with a plaque. And I'll explain to you all what this is once he gets down here. For the past 100 years, Memorial Hospital has had a long history serving the citizens of Colorado and Colorado Springs in healthcare, healing the sick and providing healthcare to the many citizens all around. But it's also had another mission that it's done very successfully, and that is in the area of educating the next generation of doctors for the state of Colorado. For at least the past 35 years, and especially in the past 4 years, with the opening of Colorado's second medical school, Rocky Vista University, approximately 50 citizens have been here in Colorado Springs training in their 3rd and 4th year at Memorial Hospital, and we're going to have our first graduation in May of 2012. And you've been instrumental in training the next group of physicians for the state of Colorado. So because of that and because of the dedication of the city and of the city council, I would like to present you this plaque, and it reads, "Presented to Colorado Springs City Council in recognition of and appreciation for your support and contribution to the advancement of medical education in Colorado Springs and the state of Colorado, dated January 2012. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We are now at the point of the agenda where we have citizen discussion. We ask if you'd like to speak and you've signed up to do so, we ask that you adhere to a couple of our rules. One is that we ask that you not speak to an item that will be later on the agenda, but we ask for you to wait for that item on the agenda. Matter of fact, I have one individual I'll call out in a second who has done that, so I'm going to ask him to wait for that item on the agenda. The other thing is we ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. When you come to the podium, you notice there's a couple of lights up there. When the yellow light starts flashing, that means you have about 30 seconds. And when the red light flashes, we ask you to wrap up your comments. The vast majority of the people who have signed up to speak have asked to speak on the subject of a free speech zone, and so I will use my discretion and allow all of you to speak in turn, and so that a couple of individuals that have asked to speak on other items, I will call them forward first. And the first individual is Mr. Charles Barber. Mr. Guy, I called Mr. Barber.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right.
Honorable President Ante, President Pro Tem Martin, and members of the City Council. My name is Charles Barber, and I've lived here for many moons. The following numbers on this spreadsheet are intended to prove the elimination of 37.5 positions and associated operating efficiencies, Chapter 1, page 2, line 27 of the 2012 budget, if you please. The solution reveals a savings from 2011 to 2012 of just over $2 million native for salaries and benefits and $1.8 million for operating. These actual numbers sum $275,321 savings in an effort to proof the $3.8 million, a mere overstatement of $3.5 million. Salaries and benefits savings are overstated 22%. Operating efficiency savings are overstated 260%. If you proceed to the upper right-hand portion of the spreadsheet, the actual 2011 change to 2012 budget is $1.4 million savings for the 37.5 positions. The operating efficiencies are a positive $1.8 million. That net effect is a savings of $275,321. And the last column to the right indicates a $3.5 million over disparity of that savings, which is incidentally a mere 1,374% difference. My question to City Council is, what is an acceptable level of competency for budget 2012 numbers by City Council, if you please? Thank you for your opinion.
Mr. Barber, we're seeing your numbers now for the first time, and so what I would ask is that you provide a copy of your presentation to the city clerk, and we'll have our city budget office look at that.
Yes,
give
and
answer
these are compiled from the 2012 budget.
I understand, but we're seeing the way that you put it here on the sheet for the first time. So again, I'd ask you to give me city clerk, and we'll get an answer back to you. Mr. Guy, I see that you've asked to speak on the Memorial Task Force, and that item is actually coming up later in the agenda, so I'm going to ask you to defer your comments until we bring that item back up on the agenda. And so the next individual I have is Michael Clifton.
Good afternoon, members of City Council. My name is Michael Clifton. I'm a part-time journalist and YouTuber, and I've been following the Occupy Colorado Springs story since its inception. I'm not here to talk to you about the item that was pulled from the agenda. I talked to Christy Wheeler and the rest of the Occupy Colorado Springs protesters, and they are all in agreement that they do not want that permit to be renewed. I'm here to talk about unnecessary and/or fraudulent charges on the part of Colorado Springs Police Department for their services. The page in the packet that I just handed you that's on top has 3 highlighted figures, which were charges billed by Colorado Springs Police Department. The first one was for a march that happened on October 15th, and it's in the amount of $3,841.80. If you flip to the second page, the first bunch of 4 videos was my footage of that march, which shows no police presence whatsoever. And yet the police billed the city for overtime. The second charge was on November 5th for the Veterans Day Parade, and that was in the amount of $6,207.58. The second item on the second page is my video of that Veterans Day Parade, where you can see 4 officers on the intersection, which is nothing special for a Veterans Day Parade. And I followed those protesters as they went down the same parade path afterwards, and there was no police around them whatsoever. And that also was fraudulent overcharging. And the last thing I wanted to speak about is the $5,537.97 that was incurred for the November 20th revocation of their permit. What I want to talk about is the fact that I saw the representative from the cleanup crew at 6 p.m. coming to size up all of their equipment 5 hours before they were notified at 11 p.m. that their permit was being revoked. I recognized him at 2 a.m. and pointed it out to Hossein, one of the permit holders. Also, the last page that I've handed you is the memorandum from Mayor Steve Bach that was given to City Planning Director Ryan Turfateller that happened on November 18th, a full 2 days before their permit was revoked. They were calling all day to find out whether or not their permit was revoked, and they got no response from the city's office or Ryan Turfateller. In response to this, I have 2 proposals for City Council. My first proposal is that you rein in the power of our strong-arm Mayor Steve Bach to keep him from making horrible, terrible scenes like this ever again, and that you quit enacting overacting policies like the free speech zones that we know that are being talked about. I am a disabled veteran that served on Fort Carson, and I don't like the fact that I came home to this city and my rights are being taken away by the city. I fought for those rights. My second proposal to the city is that you welcome investigations from outside organizations, because the same packet that you just received, I will be handing to the FBI on 111 Tejon right after this City Council meeting. I'd like to thank you for your time. This time is more than I was given by the mayor's office when his secretary had me removed from the building for having my camcorder in my hand. Thank you very much. That video is on my YouTube channel as well.
Mr. Clifton, obviously, we haven't heard of your comments until just now, and so I don't think it'd be fair of us or fair to you for us to respond immediately. But we'll make sure this gets into the proper hands of the city staff, and we'll get a response back to you. And I have your contact information on the sheet here.
Yes, you do.
Okay, I have quite a few individuals who want to speak on the free speech zones, so I'll ask you all that, and then if it's appropriate, I'll address all those comments after I listen to all those individuals. The first person who has signed up did not give his name. That person is more than welcome to come up to the audience or come up to the podium as long as he introduces himself, because our policy is you will introduce yourself for the record.
Yes, that's me. My name is Mario Rocha. Good evening, Dishonorable City Council, Dishonorable City Attorney, Dishonorable Mayor Bach, wherever you are. I am a sovereign individual. I'm also a Colorado resident. I've been here for 6 years. I do not belong to any organization or any political party. My views and my opinions are mine and mine alone. I stand in solidarity with my brothers and sisters who fight tyranny, injustice, and corruption throughout the world. And I'm here to speak against the free speech zone. Before I get started, I want to let everybody know who is and will be watching that I sense and feel fear from our representatives and our government officials, because they have sworn to uphold and defend the Constitution from enemies foreign and domestic. But instead, they're intentionally limiting and attacking the Constitution to stifle the rights of the people, to address grievances with the government, and to assemble peacefully. I personally am angry, disappointed, and disgusted at the notion of the free speech zone and the fact that City Council, City Attorneys, and Mayor Bach think that this is the way to uphold the Constitution, when men and women are dying for that very right that you guys are trying to limit. It makes me wonder if this is what our forefathers who founded this country meant when they put to defend from enemies domestic in the oath. Are you those enemies? In my opinion, the answer is yes. Now I want to read some comments from other concerned Colorado citizens that might be your constituents and possible future voters. This is from change.org/petitions/Mayor of Colorado Springs No Free Speech Zone. Diane Webb says, I can't envision a country, much less a city, enacting an ordinance in direct opposition to our First Amendment rights. Shame on you, Mayor Bach. Shame on you. Another one here from ColoradoConnection.com, Fox News 21. This comment is in a direct response to the report called Free Speech, where the city attorney is looking to see if the city can limit free speech to give the park back to families and kids. Todd Freeman says, families and kids? Yeah, right. The suits want their park back to work their shady deals and sip their cappuccinos. The students at Kent State were responding to an attempt to remove them from declared free speech zone on May 4th, 1970, where 4 were killed. Do not let this first crack in our freedoms be slipped through. Pay attention, attend the meetings, and vote these clowns out. How about a no vote in confidence? Question mark. If they lose, they're out. Not later, but now. And in my opinion, I think that's an excellent idea. If we could get a discussion going on for a vote in confidence, that'd be great. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, if this free speech zone goes on to get passed, then we will truly know where the domestic enemies are in our government. Peace, love, equality. Ron Paul, 2012. Thank you.
Mr. President, I think we should make it clear. Bernie, I'm going to let them all, I know where you're going. They've signed up to speak. I'll honor that request.
But they should know that we don't support the free speech.
I'm going to give every council member the opportunity to respond after we hear the comments from the audience. I have a feeling I got 9 people up here chomping at the bit to say something in response. And so I'm going to let you listen to all the comments before we come back. So Bernie, I know where you're going, and I'm right with you, but I want to listen to everybody first. Lori, Werble, I think is that? Thank you, sir.
Alleviate that misconception. I'm co-chair of the Pikes Peak ACLU, and I'm here on behalf of the ACLU to commend the City Council for refusing to allow the City Attorney to go into executive session over this free speech zone. I think that was a brave move. I'm glad to see you made it yesterday. However, I'll go a step further and suggest that if the City Attorney and Mayor insist on bringing this forward, that you postpone indefinitely, indeed postpone permanently, any consideration of a free speech zone, because the mere notion of such a zone can have a chilling effect itself on free speech. Now, when the council considers something with concrete terms and conditions, like an aggressive panhandler ordinance, that kind of thing, there are hooks we can have, concrete hooks, to decide, does this pass constitutional muster? Is this legitimate, et cetera, et cetera. When we talk about a free speech zone, we enter an Alice in Wonderland zone where there is nothing constitutional to grab your arms around at all, so there's really nothing to discuss. And I frankly think that the City Attorney was being slightly specious when he brought up the analogy of shouting fire in a crowded theater, because he had to know that the real cases that relates to are the kind of real borderline cases where, say, an abortion protester is shoving a big bloody picture of a fetus right at the doorway of an abortion clinic, or a protester is following a city or county council person home and setting up protests right outside their homes, or someone is going into a retail establishment to protest a product and putting their sign up right next to the shelves where the product is being displayed. These are borderline cases, but even in these kind of cases, the courts have said you can't bar all protest at an abortion clinic or a private residence or a private retail establishment. You can only set conditions for free speech. When the city tries to, or I should say, when the mayor and the city attorney try to promote the notion of a general free speech zone involving several blocks of city government, there is no way in which any kind of even limited zone ordinance could pass constitutional muster in any way, shape, or form. And the reason I say it has a chilling effect to even discuss this in a public hearing is because the mayor and the city attorney are giving credence to a certain subset of the population who believe that they have the constitutional right to a protective bubble, an entertainment bubble or a safety bubble that says when I go out into the public square, I shouldn't have to be exposed to free speech about war or abortion or prayer or whatever. Well, let's make it very clear. You don't have that right not to be exposed. The framers of the Constitution wanted free speech to be in your face and provocative and a little bit dangerous. Now, members of the City Council have legitimately asked about safety. When there is a public safety issue involved, intimidation, near riot conditions, etc., of course you can call on law enforcement, but you cannot bring up issues of the appearance of protesters, ethnicity, implied danger, and even commerce. If you're not blocking stores and blocking people from purchasing things, you cannot make restrictions on free speech just because it might have an impact on commerce. So I'm thinking that the members of City Council get this, and I would urge you to make sure that the mayor and the city attorney get this, because they clearly don't get it now. Thank you.
Lisa Ruffin-Smith. I'm sorry?
Oh, no, wait, never mind. There she is. I also commend you, council members, for not pushing the free speech zones.
but I'm hoping that we can turn it unanimous. We spoke to Mr. Tim Lee outside. I'm a member of Occupy Colorado Springs, and he himself was trying to convince us of the rightness of this notion. So I'm gonna go ahead with what I had to say. The establishment of free speech zones is the equivalent of telling Colorado Springs citizens that we have the right to free speech, but not the right to be heard. Confinement to specific areas or away from others is the same as placing citizen speakers behind soundproof glass, unheard by many or all who may need to hear the message or who may be moved by what the citizen speakers have to say. Establishing free speech zones is the establishment of the right to be silenced.
Thank you. Paul Slaw. I apologize if I mispronounced that name.
No, you actually got it spot on.
Sorry, citizens, city council members, you know, these were answered to me in, you know, previous statements that were made, previous conversations by my fellow citizens, but the only two questions I really had to put on here, the only two things I could really think about involving free speech zones, was one was, from what order of documentation does the city council draw the power to enact free speech zones? And if free speech zone is enacted, what sort of authority reserves the right to determine what can or cannot be said? Both of those, at least from my perspective of it, seem to be protected by our First Amendment rights, and that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Raven Martinez.
Hello, my name is Raven Martinez. Quite frankly, I find it disgusting you guys are even considering remotely at any degree. I understand, as Mr. Herpen has said, that several of you are against it. However, as we do know, there are some that are for it, such as Councilmember Lee, who also, by the way, I did take it back this morning to put your mind at ease. And also, I wanted to point out that we do actually already have a free speech zone. It actually stretches from California to the New York Islands, from Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. You might have heard of it. It's called the United States of America. That's one of the things that made America so beautiful, is because we do have the freedom of speech. And if you don't like what we have to say when we're standing on the corner, say in Acacia Park or in front of City Hall, then do as the council member Lisa has done and just walk away. If you don't want to listen to what we have to say, even though you're supposed to represent us, just walk out the room, walk away, continue walking on by. You don't have to stand there and listen. You have that right, just the same as I have the right to say whatever it is I want to say, as long as I'm not harming you. This is complete censorship, and again, as it's been completely repeated time and time again, the First Amendment is, quite frankly, the only defense or the only argument that we actually have to use here is, look at the First Amendment. I am actually, again, I do applaud the council members who refused to go into a closed session to talk about free speech. I mean, that's quite frankly ridiculous. And Mr. Melcher's excuse of, well, we're talking about legal issues and case laws, and we don't want to show our cards, essentially. Well, what do you have to hide, Mr. Melcher? If you don't want to talk about it in public, is there something that you have that you don't want us to know? Is there something that you want to hide from us? Because quite frankly, we're not as ignorant as you may think we are. So even if you do go into closed session, we'll still come up with the right arguments. We'll still be able to defend that. We don't need you to give us case law. I can present you with case law just the same. So I hope that the City Council goes against the mere idea of a free speech zone in Colorado Springs. Thank you.
Mr. President. Before our time, we got two more people, and then allow everybody up here to speak. So I'm going to give everybody a shot. Eric Verlo.
Hi, my name is Eric Furlow. Thanks for the chance to speak on this issue. I do commend you for taking a stand and resisting the temptation to put limits on free speech. I thought that it'd be fairly important, I guess, to consider this and consider the many aspects about this, because it looked like when the city passed the anti-camping, the camping ordinance, there was no talk about it impinging on the rights of protest, when very definitely it's been used exactly that way to curb the occupied Colorado Springs in Acacia Park. So these kind of issues, I think, are really important to watch very carefully. I wanted to, I guess, reassure you that, as much as the occupiers here, we're very threatened by the idea of a free speech zone. We resent any notion that we would need permission and a permit to exercise our free speech. And I wanted to assure you that it's going to go on no matter what, whether there are free speech zones or not. We are able to raise issues, bring issues to the public attention by standing in front of Walmarts. And I wanted to let you know that the next issue that we're raising this weekend is at the power plant. And it has to do with the fact that we've got this poison cloud maker in the midst of our city. And we're one of the few cities that has got it right there in downtown. And I don't know what you think that this says to people, let's say to better educated people, but it's actually a very threatening thing. I wanted to relate to you, I had my cousin visit from Norway. He visited for the holidays, and I wanted to take him downtown to go eat. And as we drove along 24, we're getting closer and closer to this, I had to tell him, yes, it was a coal-fired power plant. And he made me turn around. He said, no, we're not eating anywhere near that thing. And now, my cousin's not an environmentalist, but he happens to be a European. And in Europe, they're closing their coal-fired power plants. And for one, because it has to do with contribution to global warming, but the other thing is they're unhealthy. We know statistically the diseases that cause this, and we know the deaths that they cause. And in Europe, where you have socialized medicine and they have to pay for people getting sick, they know that it's wiser for them to look for another source of energy. And I guess we would urge the city to do the same. Do it as quickly as possible. Because right now, we're living in the midst of something that is generating death, generating disease, and we know it. And people know it. Experts know this. And I guess, this is a serious issue, but a big laugh is that you can guess where the prevailing winds are going. Some of the most expensive homes in this city are actually in the lee of the power plant. So, the steam affects the southern central part of the city, but the actual chemicals that are in the air are kind of going towards Broadmoor. So, just from a selfish issue, you might want to look into it. This is not the most polluting plant in America, but it's halfway there. And I don't know if you get your hands dirty, you don't only wash them half clean. That's not good enough, right? I mean, we want something that, if it's going to be in our midst, we've got to ask for something cleaner. And I guess I just wanted to demonstrate that's what free speech is for.
The last individual I have signed up is Thomas Francis.
Gentlemen, ladies. My name is Thomas Francis, also known as George Lansbury. I am active and have been in the start active in Occupy Colorado Springs. There is a mistaken impression, perhaps, in the minds of the public that Tent City or Jasonopolis, that is to say the encampment that was established by permission of the city, was in fact Occupy Colorado Springs. It was not. And that Mr. Worf, Ms. Wheeler, or Mr. Hussein, or his last name I cannot pronounce, unfortunately, it's a Farsi name, have effectively resigned from Occupy Colorado Springs. They are not here. They did not seek the renewal of their permit, nor did we, who actually are Occupy Colorado Springs, in any case propose to obtain the renewal of that permit for the purpose of establishing ramshackle tents or whatever in Acacia Park. Now, as to the free speech ban, isn't this a little bit of overkill? Because you have a public nuisance, do you forbid free speech? The public nuisance was created by the city because it allowed that ban. Never before do I believe, was there a problem in Acacia Park or anywhere else in the city with people publicly expressing their views, whether they do it with signs or with chanting or leaflets or by any other means. However, since the demise of Jasonopoulos, Jasonville, Stingopolis, whatever you want to call it, that public eyesore and nuisance, that was tolerated by the city, permitted by the city, we have been working with various protests, the Walmart protest, war protests, most recently the power plant thing, expressing our point of view on this. Now, just because, why is it because that these things are always tied up with homeless issues, with camping, with panhandling, things of that sort? Why? Because that's a damn good wedge to make protesters look like they're part of the great unwashed. Well, I happen to be part of the great unwashed. Maybe one of these stinking homeless vets that offend the sensibilities of some of the people here. I don't know. But I certainly have a right, as much right as anyone else, to express my views, provided it's done in an orderly way. I also have the right, within reason, to sleep any damn place I wish, and to ask someone for whatever monetary assistance they care to give me, although I'm not one of those, actually. With that, I'm going to close here and invite you to remember that we had a thing called the Volstead Act. Chrissy and Hossie and those people were very, very, and of course Mr. Worf, were very big on the repeal of the ban on the use of marijuana. Well, okay, that's legal now, just like booze. That caused a lot of problems. But what caused more problems in this country was the Volstead Act.
Because this is a controversial topic, I'm going to open this up to all my colleagues for the opportunity to speak if they so desire. But I'd like to start off with a couple of comments. Voltaire, I never thought I'd quote Voltaire at a city council meeting. Voltaire said, "I disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it." Raven, you took part of my line. I wasn't going to use the quote you used. I was going to use one more similar to Colorado Springs. I was going to say we have, in the words of Catherine Lee Bates, a free speech zone that's from sea to shining sea. I did not spend, and this is me personally speaking, I did not spend 21 years in the military to include time in combat defending your rights only to get elected office to help take them away. So I will tell you, I know of no impetus up here. Now, there were several aspersions made towards the city attorney. He's not an elected official. If you allow me to, I'll speak on his behalf. He was asked, I do not believe by a member of council, but he was asked to take a look into this. I'm probably going overboard a little bit here, but I'll tell you what he told us. He told us that if we went down this road, we had serious constitutional issues resolved. So before you start throwing a lot of stones at the city attorney, I want you to know that he gave us an opinion that sided very much in line with the speakers that I just heard in the last few minutes. Bernie?
Thank you, Mr. President. I too spent over 20 years in defending our rights. We often bring things to City Council just to get information. And I look at this, the possibility of a free speech ordinance saying as the mayor bringing forward, the city attorney bringing forth information for us so that we can make a decision. It doesn't necessarily mean we're going to enact it. As a matter of fact, no one on City Council has asked for this information. It was brought forward from outside City Council. I'm not an attorney, but from what I have read, that government does have the right to regulate free speech as far as time, matter, and place. I'm not saying that's what we're doing, but we do have, there is that right, and I'm sure that a lawyer, the ACLU guy could maybe expound on that. I certainly respect and have defended from the day one the Occupy Colorado Springs or anybody else's right to stand in the public way and protest, as long as they respected the rights of others and our ordinances. And for the most part, you did. The city did I think, made a mistake in giving you a permit to erect tents and things in Acacia Park. The city,
That is not us, sir.
Sir, you've had your opportunity.
the city did permit that. And so you were within your rights to do that until the permit was not renewed. So I was the first person to speak yesterday when this was going to go into closed session. I think if you read the Gazette, you probably saw my comments in the Gazette where I did find it kind of ironic that we would discuss free speech issue outside of the public view. And the majority of my colleagues agreed with that, and we did withdraw that item. So rest assured that your right to stand in front of City Hall or on the sidewalk at Acacia Park 24/7 is very important to us, and I certainly take umbrage at the person who spoke and called us dishonorable. I think yesterday we did the honorable thing. Thank you, Mr. President.
Lisa, anyone speaking?
I've often talked about integrity and communication is imperative, and that I value honesty and respect. And twice a month we sit here, and I'm going to address this to you, Raven. We sit here and we listen to our constituents come up with their concerns. We sit here and listen respectfully because that is our job and that's what we've been elected to. But if we have a speaker that comes up inside these chambers and is addressing, we are the city leadership. Now, not everybody may agree with what we vote for, with how we think, but that also is our right. We are the city leadership. We deserve respect. And if any speaker comes up in front of this body and starts off by insulting us, I will walk out every time. And I will not apologize for that. It's a two-way street. Everyone deserves respect in listening and providing information. And I expect that to be reciprocal also to this body, who is the city elected leadership. And I'm sorry if you don't understand that, but that's how it'll be. And that is who I am as a District 3 representative. Thank you.
Is there any member of council that could attend?
Brave little girl.
So I guess my comment would be is that I was accused that I walked away from you guys when you wanted to talk to me. Is that right? You mentioned that when you came up that I walked away? You just made that, you said I walked away. You wanted to talk to me, you said I walked away. That's actually not true. I'd like to state for the record what I did say. I left my card outside with my contact information. I said I would meet with any or all of you folks outside this venue, have coffee. I volunteered to buy because I wanted to hear your story. So I'd like to at least be catched in the proper light here. I'm the one that's reaching out to say I'd like to hear the story. I'm also the one that was quoted in the paper as the one that supported the zoning. And my issue wasn't zoning because I actually do support free speech. I also am an Army veteran and kind of believe in those things. But from our position at 80,000 feet, you have to try and balance the rights of all the citizens. And so the attempted quote in the paper was, how do you balance the rights of people who are not able to use the public facility because they're intimidated by their perception that you are intimidating? So I don't know the answer to that. It's not that I'm not for free speech. I am for free speech. But we're trying to figure out how do we, really balance the rights of all the citizens. It's not an easy task. And I get the constitutional, arguments back and forth, but I don't think this is a conversation that is going to disappear like in this setting in 30 minutes. And that's why I offered to meet with you folks and understand your position. So don't catch me or cast me in the eye that I'm the guy that walked away, because that's absolutely not true. I'm the guy that volunteered to meet with you guys.
For clarification, I actually said, if you don't like what we have to say, while we're on the corner of Acacia Park, for example, if you don't like what we have to say, then you can do as council member, I'm sorry, I don't understand, but I can't pronounce her last name, but Lisa did, and just walk away and not care to hear what we had to say. Even if you are a representative.
Okay, so we won't get in a shouting match here, but just suffice to say, we're willing to listen and we have volunteered to listen, so please express the facts in a public setting correctly so that we're on record as to what we have said. We will listen. I have volunteered to meet, and you have my contact information. The ball is in your court, okay?
Raven, Is there any other person who'd like to speak? Thanks. I think we've covered this issue. If you'd like to address further, I'll just echo Councilmember Lee's comments. We're all easily contactable. You know how to get a hold of us, and if you want to bring this issue up again. And as you know, I think the very fact that we have open discussion before every council meeting should show an indication of this board's willingness to listen to our citizens on any topic that they so choose to address us on. So you've already had your chance, and so thank you. Before we move on, you know, it's probably okay to have a little bit of a downsize to the, matter of fact, it's okay to have a little bit of good thing going on. Dr. Salatko, if you come forward, please.
Thank you, President Hente. Esteemed council members, I know you're all very busy, so I won't take up much of your time. First off, I'd just like to thank all of you for your dedication, all your very hard work in a job that does not receive very much recognition and receives much criticism. So there is one council member that I'd like to thank especially, Lisa Salatko, my amazing wife. She pours her heart out into this job, into our family, and into our marriage. So I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart for 15 amazing years of marriage. Happy anniversary.
Okay, 9 years on council, that was a first for me. Okay, item number 5.
Approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting of December 13th, 2011, and the special called session of December 15th, 2011.
Council? Is there anybody in the audience that can comment on the minutes? Please vote. And that item passed unanimously. Item number 6.
Mayor's communications.
I guess it's Madam Assistant Chief of Staff. Did I say that right? Do you have anything from the mayor's office?
Yes, I do, Mr. President, members of the council. A couple announcements from the mayor. First of all, he looks forward to the courtesy briefing on the Spirit of the Springs, which was discussed yesterday at informal, and we will be scheduling for the January 23rd informal council meeting. Secondly, as part of that, if you have any questions in advance specifically, we would encourage you to give them to your council liaison, Amy Cox, and she will coordinate with the Chief of Staff, Lauren Newman, to be prepared for that presentation on the 23rd. So we look forward to that courtesy briefing. Secondly, the mayor also looks forward to the inaugural mayor and council meeting that is being held this week on the 18th, and we know that is on everyone's schedule. Third,
Nancy, it's actually a week from tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry, a week from tomorrow. Yep, you're right. 8 days, not this week. Third item is also in regards to some discussion that occurred yesterday at the informal council meeting, and I know I had a discussion with Mr. Chacon prior to the start of this meeting. We wanted to just really clarify the Mayor's 100 Teens program and indicate that for clarification that this program was not cut from the budget. I think the budget references have to do with the fact that we had some discussions about it at the time that we were looking at the 2012 budget, and as we were transitioning from the strong mayor, former city council, city manager to strong mayor governance. Our understanding had been that the council was interested in revising and in fact upgrading the program. Councilman Bennett came forward, I think, with a lot of input from some of the youth that had gone forward with the program, wanting to add a leadership component as well as the recognition part of the program. So we're very excited to await a proposal from Councilman Bennett and the rest of the council, and the mayor is happy to approve a budget if that is the council's wishes to move forward with a revised recognition program, whatever it may be called, of 100 teens. So we did want to clarify to the media and to the community that there is every intention of moving forward with some type of program, but that obviously The ownership of the program will now be with the city council, and that we are going to upgrade it to take a look at some other components such as leadership, not just recognition. So we do want to work with you on that and are anxious to do so. Thank you. That's the end of our announcements.
Does anybody have any questions for Nancy? Murph?
That's the first I'd heard that, but what is the amount in the budget that would be available for this book?
The amount in the budget is, I think, a minimal amount that we use for printing, and I'll have to get that number. I think it was somewhere in the 18,000 range at maximum, because that was the cost of printing the final program. This program, as many programs that are conducted in the Parks and Recreation Department, are really piecemealed among staff's other duties. So we did not have a dedicated staff, which I think was part of the confusion in the discussion yesterday. We don't run a program budget where you can turn to page 6 and see Mayor's 100 Teens, X dollars. So the budgeting was basically the availability of time of some of the staff to work the existing program, which was basically a couple of hours a week. So we will work with you on a budget once we get a proposal from the council.
Thank you. I'm sure Amy and I will be glad to talk with you about that and maybe bring back a couple of options.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Consideration of items called up from the consent calendar section. Item 3B1.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 11-95, 2012 appropriation ordinance by increasing revenue and expenditure appropriations in the amount of $255,422 for the Development Review Enterprise Fund.
I actually called this item off the consent calendar because I wanted to say thanks to the city staff, particularly the individuals in the Development Review Enterprise. Brett, I see you're standing up here, and from the city attorney's office. This one was painful. I know that because, as you know, Brett, I got personally involved with this to bring about this item, to bring about this financial obligation that was due from the bond company was actually paid to the city. I know Kathy McGargle in your office worked this extensively, and I know we had to involve the city attorney's office, particularly Mr. Pat McDivitt, in this item. So I guess what I wanted to say, and Brett, you're free to comment as you see appropriate, but this one was painful, but we got to where we needed to get to, and I just want to show my appreciation and say thanks for the hard work on this one.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick words on it. Yes, actually, we had brought this item to City Council previously. I've gone through the entire scenario and asked for approval to move into litigation with this company who was not going to settle, was holding funds that the neighborhood wasn't going to be receiving. Basically, on the strength of this council's decision, they opted to settle. And we believe that settlement was quite substantial. And what it would have cost in legal funds would have been many, many tens of thousands of dollars, possibly up to 100. So certainly I would like to thank our staff members, well, Kathy McGargle, who worked tirelessly at this, and thank you for your support.
Thanks again. And I'll accept the motion for this one.
Move approval.
Second.
Please vote. And that passes unanimously. Item 3B5.
I actually called a resolution approving a land exchange between the City of Colorado Springs and Colorado College.
Go ahead.
I actually called this one up. I'm actually excited about the transfer, but I had a hard time seeing the maps actually on my iPad, but it appears to me that it might involve some Monument Valley land, which I think was deeded by General Palmer to the city, and I know there's some real strong deed restrictions in that, and I assume we've gotten around that, but I just wanted to sort of make a statement that we're not setting a precedence here with deeded property from General Palmer. So if you can set my mind at ease, that would be great.
Sure. Councilwoman Martin, Ingrid Richter, Real Estate Services. I did bring a map, if we can just get an overhead to look at. In response to your question, Councilwoman, the gray colored area
on my far left side of this map was actually deeded to the city back in 50 years ago, back in 1961, by the railroad. This is actually the parcel that we will be exchanging to Colorado College in exchange for property that is along Monument Valley Creek. So I'm going to just point to the two areas. This gray area is the area that will be donated to Colorado College. This triangular area adjacent to Colorado College's property is owned by the college, and they will be dedicating this parcel to the city.
Okay, so no General Palmer property involved, and I will make a motion to accept this, this item.
Is there additional comment from the audience or from council? Please vote. And that item passed unanimously. A short break before we move on to the next item.